Hello everybody, and welcome to episode 3 of Mana and Artifice. So, I'd like to begin this episode by showing some things that I've done. So, one thing that I've done is I have found and captured a few villagers using a method that I will show in a moment. I have crafted a ring, pretty much it's a ring of silk touch. It's called a ring of silk. I have made an enchantment table. I have made a side room, and a lot more stuff, actually. I have a villager area. I have a small villager trading hall, which the most important guy is not this one. Now this one, the guy who has cheap mending. Which honestly makes me feel a little bit sad for this guy, because I was like, oh, you have a purpose. But now he does not. So, I will have to, like, give him paper or something if I want him to level up. I also have these two for emerald production, because I can chop down trees by looking at them. So, I also have got this little setup here, which I'll explain in a little bit. And that little guy is a construct. And I made him using this construct workbench and these timberite crystals. That wasn't there. Okay, I guess this place is not Enderman proof. Okay. I suppose I shall toss this into there. So, one thing that has happened between episodes is that I created this little construct like golem dude. I do have my stick of mind control. Actually, I can just wait for him to come nearby. Actually, no, I'll let him work. So, this guy is a construct. As you can see, he's a little green boy. Yep. He is wandering around, picking up stone from this rune forge, putting it into this chest, which all this is smelted by him. And then he's going over to this chest, picking something up, putting it in there, running around to that really long hallway I created, so then he'd have to take longer in order to, make it back here. And then he runs all the way back, and by the time that's done smelting. And the place where you can find how to do this type of thing is in the construct section, where you can also find magic brooms, which are essentially better hoppers. So, the animated constructs, here's how you craft the construct workbench. You have some timberite, some stone, some wood, and some glyphs. You also need to make this control rod, which construct frame rod. It's a pain to make, because let's see, I'm trying to construct frame rod. Construct rod. How about I just go rod? Okay, here we go. So it is a runesmithing recipe, and you have to have superheated purified Vintium ingots, because I guess the various terms weren't long enough already. So so the way that you make that is you just take a iron ingot, purified Vintium dust, you craft them together, toss it in a rune forge. It's the exact same thing as superheated Vintium, except it's superheated purified Vintium. And you need to be a tier higher. And then you take a hammer, you beat up the plate, like you do normally, because somewhere in here, there's the pattern for that. But, yeah. So that's how you make the construct control rod, which you kind of just wave it around in this guy's face, and he'll listen to you. Like right now, I instructed him to follow me, and he will be a little pet, and he will smack people in the face with me. He's entirely loyal to me. So the way that you control them is that you click the rod on the construct, and then you tell him what you want him to do. I'm going to click on the construct again. And he should stay still. Never mind, it took too long. I'm going to click him twice. And I was going to stay still. Now, I'm actually going to clean this out myself because because he has a set of instructions. And the way that you give them instructions is by you craft a, I believe they're called lodestar, which is obsidian, chimmerite, gold. And then you put it down. You can turn it off using redstone, so you could do that. Like, if I really wanted to, I could set up a comparator and be like, oh, you know, if there's a redstone signal here, turn on the lodestone, so then this guy won't smelt stuff, but this is going to take long enough to smelt that it will not matter in the slightest how long it takes him to do stuff, because by the time I put more stuff in there, he's going to still be smelting it. So the way that you actually instruct them is you create, actually I'm pretty sure, yeah, runes of marking, which when you finish making them, where are they? Actually, no, I'll just show it later. So the runes of marking, the way that they work is that you can pick them up, and then you kind of just right-click something like this chest, and you see I've marked that chest with this runestone. And so that will instruct, in this case the construct, to go and use that thing on that location. And then you can place it into a rune forge, and then do a patrol. You can set up to 4 locations. So he just, it says run down there, run back, and then pick up the 2 stuff from the rune forge, because this has ore doubling capacity, like that one. That's just a purified Vintium ingot. I'm pretty sure those aren't used for very much. So that's how I have this little setup here. I just, I'll set them up, and then you click on your constructs if you want them to be instructed. Then you click on the thing, and look, he's picking up stuff, putting it in the rune forge. He's going to run down there. He's going to run back. He's going to take it and put it, take it and put it. Constructs are pretty simple, but in order to create them, you have to make these like chimmerite crystals, and then like surround them around the thing. I just used all white because bone meal can be used to dye stuff, and I had a lot of bone meal from composting, so I used that. In the way that you create the construct is that you, you zap these crystals with something. Air is something that I used, because it gives them, it makes them faster, which actually for this guy, if he was slower, I wouldn't have to create such a large area. So that's something to take note of. And then you can actually, yeah, never mind. So yeah, you can use that and just, and then you right click the person when you're done creating their bodies, which are shown in the books. I personally have only used wooden basic constructs heads with legs, with torso, with grabber arms, because I haven't made anything for the automation of like rune forging to make those runes of marking, or farming, which is another thing that I tried to do, which in order to do that you have to give them a bladed arm. Everything's said in the book. However, these villagers, how did I get them into here? Well, I showed you last episode the villager area. Well, the village. However, there's one spell component. I believe this is a tier 1 spell. It is a tier 1 spell. Crystallize. So, in order to make this crystallize spell, you have to have a lead, which I'd say is the most expensive part, some silk, some feathers, some Vintium, some focus, some clay. But then you have this cute little spell here, which you can use to capture creatures. Like, I'm gonna give this villager baby the nightmare of his life. I'm gonna shift right click because villagers have a trading menu, and now my diamond has been consumed and turned into a crystalline cage with a villager trapped inside, which is why I have this area over here to grow up the villagers. When you right click on the ground, the villager's freed. And that is how I put all the villagers into this trading hall, just by picking them up and moving them as needed. And actually the way that I got all these diamonds is by using my Ring of Bind of Fortune, and then actually using the Divination component, which it looks like this. It's pretty expensive. You need a diamond and emerald, which is the reason why I found that village last episode. Some compasses. But after you do that, oh yeah, you can actually see through the wall. There's an ore there. I'm gonna... Ah. Just let me fall, please. Yeah, so if we look around... Yeah, see that coal is glowing. So that is how that spell works. It's pretty useful, especially when you're mining down here. Like, I have this little segment down here. I filled it in because it was getting pretty big. But in that area, I just like kept on finding another vein, so it would look like I was hacking if I was on a server, but it's just how the spell works. So that is the divination spell. It's X-ray hacks, that's what it is. Actually, that mine shaft is going to be a bit important, because I intend on joining a faction this episode. So, if you look in the Oculus, yeah, I have completed all of these things. Actually, the Ritual of Alteration is something I probably could show, but, so I casted cantrip, I crafted a magic room, I didn't use it, so I didn't show it. Mana crystal, fragments, craft a construct, which is the guy that's running around, there he is. Craft a spell, craft rune plates, just do rune forging, and elemental moat, which I had to make in order to make these break rings. Active set bonus with the mage armor. Charcoal print of a scribed rune, I think I showed that. Magic level 30. Forge a rune, and rune scribe a rune pattern. So rune forging is like 5 of the tasks. And in order to make a construct, you actually have to do some rune forging if you want to create better materials, which is why I'm sticking with wood, at least until later. But now, you advance by completing one of the following rituals. Ritual of the Wizard Council, Burning Hells, Fairy Courts, or Cold Dark. If you look at the rituals, you can find them. There is Cold Dark, Burning Hells, which this one costs a diamond in the Moats of Fire. And they will say things like, oh, you know, have fire resistance when talking with the demon. Give them a moat of fire. However, one thing that's similar with all of them is that allying yourself with such entities will most assuredly make an enemy of others. However, Cold Dark is the one that I'm going to be doing because I want to join the Undead faction, and because I'm assuming that you're at least somewhat familiar with the mod, or that you're looking into the mod. The Undead faction says that you have to like be more experienced with the mod, and you will burn in the sunlight. You will be able to make coffins to sleep in. You can breathe underwater, and it's just more work, pretty much. But I've already done some camera work to set up for this. Fairy Courts is made out of yourself the fairy. Moats of air are what you give them. And then there is the Council one, which I'm trying to find. This one, you give them a moat of magic. Actually, no, you don't give them a moat. You just use one in the ritual, along with 2 spellbooks, which, being completely honest, I don't intend on making spellbooks just because I have access to my Book of Rote. Which actually, Bound Blade spells. Really interesting. You just right-click and you have just a weapon, which it does a moderate amount of damage. But most importantly, you can add on an effect. Like this one, I call it the Creepa Blade, because it does damage and does the fling effect. So that's a very interesting thing that I just don't know how I feel about it. It's just weird. A transitory tile also seems really interesting. You put down a temporary block. Unfortunately, it doesn't work with projectile, but you can do Sky Wars with a bridge that will fall apart. It looks really cool, and in the later tiers there is something involving this, so that is something that's pretty notable. Let's see, what else is there? Oh yeah, a fling spell. I also mastered the slow fall portion, so then I could fling and not take fall damage. Because that's really nice. If you look at the chat, actually, I fell from a high place. Oh yeah, it said in the chat, Earth Sky. That is a pretty fun one. I've been using it, honestly, a bit as a joke to just create the beginnings of a pumpkin island in the sky. Yeah, so you just right-click. And stuff just flies. It helps me to see where in my pumpkin farm more plants are produced. Like, you can tell that in those areas more is produced than the ones up there. Less are. There we go. Now everything's been flown up to the sky. And now I can harvest my pumpkin farm in the most lazy way possible. Yeah, now I've got like the outline of the pumpkin. It's really fun. So I mentioned earlier that I tried to use a construct for wheat farming. Here he is. He's got the blade arm. He's got a grabber hand. And he's sitting here doing nothing. I have the harvest crops command with 2 marking buttons. And you like select an area and be like, hey, pick up crops. I made it intentionally really big in order to make it so he would try to harvest. But he is not acknowledging that there's fully ready wheat, which is a slight problem. But it's fine. I'll probably figure out how to do this eventually. But my lazy alternative for the moment is I just created a villager hall. Not villager hall, I moved some villagers outside and created a small villager crop harvesting thing. I believe the design is by Mysticat. I take no credit for this. I'm totally stealing it because I don't want to have to design stuff, which actually, thinking of stealing stuff, I mentioned preparations before to prepare to become a undead wizard. Down here is one of those preparations. Ugh. So if I wander around, we can hear them already. I found a mine shaft, which I walked through before. Here's the main area of it. However, inside of this mine shaft, there is spider spawners, and I found 2 of them that were close enough that I could make them work together. So, if I should probably put another light right here. If I go over to here, I created a little funnel to put all the spiders into. Now, so it's an XP farm. And this is important because I'm going to walk away from here a little bit in order to stop hearing the spiders as loudly. So when you get into the wizard's group, and instead of regenerating mana passively, you have to kill things such as spiders in order to regenerate your mana. So this spider farm is going to be how I'm going to be passively regenerating my mana. So that's pretty much everything that I've done between episodes. This little line off into the distance, I went exploring, and I did find a witch hut, which I do eventually plan on making some sort of mob farm there. However, I'm just going to go ahead and advance my tier by performing a ritual. So the ritual that and while exploring, I found this bag, which is epic. It can stack up to a stack. I mean, 100k. And I also have a bunch of mana crystals. Yeah, this thing's just a beautiful thing. It has like 20 inventory slots. So what this is it is a ritual pouch, which go under ritual practitioner pouch. It's pretty cheap. What the things are is that they're shulker boxes. That's what they are. They're just shulker boxes. But you can apparently find fully upgraded ones, which I find to be great. So, we begin the ritual. So, in order to cast this particular ritual, you need a lot of bone ash, some bones, some motes of ender, which are really expensive, some ice, which is why I made the silk touch ring, so that I didn't have to rely on luck for enchantments. Some bone dust. I also picked up that bone ash. Some ice, some stuff. And then you also need these warding candles, which I will say, they are a pain. I'm gonna find wherever they are. Here we go. So, in order to craft them, you have to have mythic focuses, honeycomb string slabs, which is why, if you paid attention, there were bees outside, because I needed them to cast this ritual. Which, honestly, that's probably the most random thing that made me have to stop progression, is I had to find all of the bees. Here we go. Got my wand already. I'm gonna go to F1 mode. Oh my gosh, this looks so cool. Okay, I'm gonna... I'm gonna try to be as quiet as I can, but at the same time, it's probably really loud because my recorder will amplify the computer audio. Oh! When I'm not talking actively. So actually, this is one thing that was not stated. That was not shown because I had F1 mode on. Like, I can type in the chat. Okay. Yeah, and then it just won't show. So, as the ritual completes, a heavy stone coffin materializes in front of you. Dare you climb in? Yes, sir! Oh my gosh. This is terrifying. Oh! As the lich's hand touches you, you feel the breath pulled from your lungs. You feel cold, getting colder until it feels like you burn, like it burns. Then nothing. Your vision fades to black as you drift. As you awaken, you feel different. I've allied myself with the legions of the undead. Yes. So, now if we look over here, my faction cannot supplement from this item. Infusion works, and therefore it will still recharge gear. So, I can now no longer receive benefits from mana regen. If I were to cast a spell, such as Fling, my mana does not regenerate. However, if you look at my I guess, mana power level and amount of mana, before I had like 1,200 mana, I now have 4,600 mana, which is a lot, and that's with my 25% extra bonus. So if I take off the armor, oh, it's still that. Oh, I should switch back to iron armor then. Just because this stuff has more durability and protection, and I guess if I have no benefits from wearing that armor, I shouldn't wear them. But I do know that I will need this later, so I'm gonna keep this alive. Also, I did find this thing. I'm not entirely sure what this does, so that's why I haven't mentioned it. So, this is now my coffin. It's a bed. And if you sleep in it, I will regenerate some souls or mana. Oh, never mind. Not enough time has passed since your last rest. I did not gain any souls. Oh! Okay, that's an interesting thing. So, apparently my sleeping is time-based. So, it's daytime. And if you look at the Undead faction stuff, if I walk outside with no helmet, it burns! So I have to stay in water. And actually, I have water breathing forever. So, but if I put on a helmet and walk around, my helmet will be damaged. It takes a while, so my helmet's going to last quite a while before it breaks. However, I made a sword for this. I made a diamond sword in order to compensate for the fact that I won't be able to use magic weapons as frequently. I should regenerate souls. So I get like 100 per spider. So I'm going to be popping down there every once in a while. That's the wrong way. To regenerate my mana using my sword. Stronghold. Complete destruction. Oh, actually, I prepared for that one. Never mind. That requires a lot of boats. So I guess I'll start preparing to do this ritual next time because I have gathered the materials for building that, for creating the building, but I now know what I have to do to prepare for next episode, which is the reason why I wanted to record this one. So, thank you for watching this episode. I'm certain that's been very chaotic, but that's the way that we do it around here. So now I know that I need to prepare lots of motes, some mystic foci, and then I'm going to have to create my thing, which, because I'm the Undead faction, it's pretty important. It says that, you know, I can, I get more souls from killing people. Oh well. I think it'd be cool if there's a little animation of, like, the little lid flipping on. But either way, thank you for watching. I hope you have a good day. Goodbye.